$10 million, up over $1 million from the year before, a 12% increase in what they spent the year before. Do you know that the only way that you can find out what those offices spent off the budget is to get the county's financial report, a 300 and some odd page document after the money's been spent, and go to page 102 and find what they spent? Do you know that if those offices were not elected but were appointed, that over $2 million that by structure and by statute they're allowed to hold because they're an elected office would go into the county budget as revenue? And when I ask them those questions, they stand back and say, well, no, I didn't know any of that. So I think you've got the right to decide. At this point in time, if you can make that a more efficient operation, if you can save millions of dollars for the voter and take those millions and put them into public education, public health, public safety, do we not need to give the voters the right to consider that and make an informed decision? I think we do.
Can I speak to that?
Yes, ma'am.
With regard to 12% increase from last year, what you don't talk about is fixed costs. You have salary benefits, you have health insurance costs, you have fixed costs that increase over every year. In fact, the school system's budget, their fixed costs were 12%. We actually gave them more in addition to that, but when Mr. Thomas came to commission and said, you know, look, bottom line, we have to have at least 12% to meet our fixed cost, and so that, I don't think that that's a very fair statement. Also, commission, I brought this forward this summer that we would have the budget of the trustee and the office holders come under commission control. That did not pass. But what did occur was that Fred Sisk and Sherry Witt and those elected officials would fax us their monthly statements on our fax machine. They said, you know what, we'll do the right thing and everything's an open book for us. What really concerns me is that you think that they're hiding monies. Anything that, this is not a business. They're not for profit. Anything that is extra gets turned over to the general fund. Are they not supposed to keep $2 million by law just to make sure that their office can pay their employees, can pay their bills? That is something that has to be held in lieu.
But that's the point. They only have to hold that.
But look, if we spend that $2 million for schools or whatever, in emergent times and in financial serious straits that we have right now, you want to make sure that you can pay your bills.
But I agree with that.
But if you turn it over to the mayor's office, that's fine.
That's what the law allows them. It allows them to hold it because they are separate offices. And having that separate office and having that separate structure creates some inefficiencies. And I think it's up to the taxpayer to decide, do we want those inefficiencies so that we can preserve our right to vote?
Through a campaign, we've brought those issues forward, and those elected officials have made efficiencies. You had on your show, I guess last week or week before, you had those officials saying, look, we've reduced some of our employees.
They have.
And through a
campaign,
and through people questioning them.
But you still have a trustee's office that's 3 times the size of the trustee's office in Hamilton County and about 40% larger than the trustee's office in Shelby County. I think there are efficiencies that are out there that we need to take a look at and see, do the voters want those efficiencies?
When you make those comparisons, though, Knox County does more duties. We do passports, we do driver's license. There are some duties that are shipped into Knox County that we do. So it's not, when you make those comparisons, you have to make sure that the workload is accurate and that those comparisons are true.
We are hearing both sides here, but what are the voters saying? How you are hearing from them, what do they have to say?
I guess one question I have is, does this vest too much power in the county mayor? I mean, part of the issue has been, if you vest too much power in one office, and if you have any kind of misstep or mismanagement in that office, does it trickle down? Right. Is there some benefit to having these people politically detached from your county's CEO or your county's management?
And the check and balance there is the fact that if this amendment passes, the county commission can, with a 2/3 vote, remove any appointed official for cause. And that's any appointed official. That's not just these newly appointed officials. It would be any appointed official. And I mean, the other thing is whether or not you really do think that it's giving the county mayor more power to have, under his appointment, the people who are registering property, selling license plates and hunting and fishing license, collecting the taxes. Those are administrative functions that are a part of what makes county government run.
There are three major checks and balances here, Halloran. First of all, this doesn't take effect, just like the county commission restructuring, doesn't take effect till the next mayor. We're not talking about this mayor. The three checks and balances are: commission approves the departmental structures of the mayor's office. Commission approves the specific appointees. That's the first check and balance. The second is commission can remove, with a 2/3 vote, any department director for cause. And the third and the biggest is the amendment institutes an independent inspector general to root out waste, fraud, and abuse, looking over the shoulder of all county officials.
I just want to speak very briefly to this. First thing, if you read the legislation on their website, and also I want to say that the opposition does have a website. It's called SaveKnox.org. And the problem here is, if you read the fine print, the mayor can fire the law director, the register of deeds, the trustee, or the county clerk for any reason without approval. But county commission can only fire them for cause with a supermajority 2/3. That's not a level playing field, and that's not checks and balances. The problem here is we should never have had commingled amendments. This is what the United States Congress does. They have the lowest rating of trust of any institution in this country. We don't need an omnibus petition, which is what this is. It's like the legislation they do in Congress, where they throw all these bills in and they bury the ones they don't want you to see in the very end with complex legalese language. I hope these are rejected, and I offer to help you all to do this again in 2010 and do it right. This isn't the right way to do it.
I think, Mr. Mitchell, you know that we made every attempt possible to go through county commission to get the amendments out separately. 3 times county commission did not do that. But secondly, let's talk about the executive branch restructuring one other way. Compare this to other governments. Federal government, we elect one executive branch official. State government, as big as it is, we elect one executive branch official. City government, we elect one executive branch official. We know who to hold accountable. In Knox County, we elect 7 different fiefdoms heads, and they point fingers at
And we're
each
going to
other.
have to leave it at that.
These appointees will not
We're going to have
take
to leave it
the
right
whole
there.
thing.
Thank
So
you
they'll be
all
holding
so
the
much for being here. And I know this discussion is going to continue for quite a while, but thank you very much.
We want to remind you that early voting does start on Wednesday. For those of you who are watching Inside Tennessee this Sunday, certainly you will note that it has already started, and you can be voting right now.
That's right. We do want to wrap things up, though. We want to tell you about one other issue on Knox County's voters' ballots. That is the liquor referendum. Right now, liquor by the drink is allowed in Knoxville and in Farragut, but not at restaurants in Knox County outside the city limits. The group Citizens for Home Rule led a petition drive to gather about 7,500 signatures, and they got those.
Aubrey's was the business that took the lead in that effort. The restaurant has a beer permit, but the owner told us he wants to give his customers a say. So you can see that on the ballot, as well as when you vote for these amendments that we've talked about this evening.
John, I hate to interrupt you, but KnoxAccountability.com is a place you can see the arguments for and against the amendments also.
We got both those in there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Once again, early voting starts Wednesday here in Knox County and across the state. It'll run through October 13th. So get out there, or actually October 30th. Let me correct myself right there. So get out there and vote. You've heard the information. Find more information. Go out and do your duty. Vote.
Thanks for watching. Have a good evening. Hal?